So let me talk about a story, situation that happened to me a few months ago now, dealing with getting a new car, or to be more correct, a pre-owned car, and I'm sitting in it. And I was determined that I wasn't going to get taken for a ride. I was going to do a lot of research. The reason that I decided to get another car was the one that I had was 13 years old. I was the original owner, and it had 160,000 miles on it. And that car, you couldn't kill it. I have to say, the car was still in good shape, but as it was getting near 160,000 and turning over that, I said, I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to wait for things to happen. So let me get another car. Plus, I discovered that, as a lot of you may know, there's a crisis right now with cars, new cars, and even used cars. There's a whole thing with they can't get the chips that are necessary to make the new cars, and cars are becoming scarce, and it's hard to get a good deal. And I figured if I was going to act, I might as well act now. I stuck with basically the same brand of car that I had. When something's working right for me, I go to the same thing, and I stick with it. And that's what I decided to do with the car. The last car that I had, which I traded in, I only got $500 for it. Why? Because it was older, even though it was still in pretty good shape. I decided to do that, and I decided I'm going to stick with what I know works. Why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing, So that's what I do. And I went to the dealers. I'm not going to, if I'm buying a pre-owned car, there's no way that I'm going to do anything like the old days when you go to somebody's house, or you look in the newspapers, or I guess these days it's online, and you go and you buy something from somebody out of a private house or something like that. No. I went to the dealers. I figured, the cars there are going to be guaranteed more or less, and I know this particular car I've got like a 7-year warranty on, so that worked out good. But here's the thing. I go to get the car, and I tell the guy kind of what I'm looking for, and I got lucky because the salesman, I don't love these salesmen. They're snake oil salesmen. A lot of times you can't really trust them. They're looking to take you for a ride a lot of times. But I found a guy. His name was Charlie, and this guy Charlie, right away I liked him. He seemed really cool, fun, down to earth, trustworthy. And I said, yeah, I got a good one. This guy. I was there with my girlfriend. We were together, to get this car. So this guy, everything was going good with this guy. I liked him a lot, and I trusted him implicitly. So he shows me this car, and I get in the car. I take it for a test drive by my girlfriend and I. Charlie stayed behind, and I went for the test drive, and I'm driving it. I just thought the transmission was a little, it wasn't as tight as I like. When I step on the gas of a car, I like it to be really solid, and you take tight and you take right off. And this was a little hesitant, I thought, but it wasn't anything terrible, you see. Everything else felt great. I mean, this car is only 2 years old, okay, I should say, My last car was a 2008, which I bought new, or I financed it, I should say, new. This car is a 2019, so it's only 2 years old. And it only had 12,000 miles on it. So, 2 years old, 2019, 12,000 miles, let's go for it. So, overall, I felt really good about it. So it was enough for me to take it. I didn't even bother thinking of test driving other cars. So we made the transaction. We traded in the old car. We did all the paperwork right there. It was very good service. I loved it. And then we left, and I went to get something to eat with my girlfriend. We went to a diner to get some lunch. And then we came back to the car. When I came back to the car, I noticed something I hadn't seen before, and I looked pretty good. I mean, there were a couple of little nicks here and there. The guy told us, he said, there's going to be a couple of little nicks and scratches. Here's one, here's one here, he showed me. So he was upfront about that, too. But one that he hadn't shown me, and one that I hadn't noticed, was on the driver's side front door, kind of along the edge where the front door meets the back door, right along the edge, front edge, was about an inch long line of rust. So I'm like, I just bought the car, and I'm like, what? I hadn't seen this. So right away, I call the guy up. I say, I just bought the car, Charlie, but there's some rust here. He says, well, gee, I didn't know that. Of course, he plays dumb. Maybe it was sincere. Maybe he never knew. I never saw that. But then I remembered, and my girlfriend pointed out, every time the guy showed us the car, he very conveniently held open the front door for us. Huh? Right? So right away, I'm like, this son of a gun, he didn't even show us this. He probably knew about it. They say, let the buyer beware, right? It's my fault. So anyway, he was pretty nice about it, though. He said, I had no idea that was it. Could you text me a picture? So I took my phone, I snapped a picture, and I texted him the picture, and he saw the damage, and he said, okay, I'll fix that right up for you. He says, I'm going to make an appointment for you, and we're going to bring it right here to the auto body shop, and we'll fix that right away. Now, I wasn't too worried about the rust, because I figured, well, sometimes things happen where you can ding a door, I know about a lot of you, but I've noticed sometimes you go to a gas station, and if you are not careful, if you open your door, sometimes they have a pole or something there. You could bang your door or against a wall or something. It probably got dinged or hit, and it just got worse. I don't think the car was ever wet. I don't think the car was ever damaged, really, or anything, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I just want them to fix it. So that was a whole another deal. The guy was really helpful. Charlie, he said, just give me a text tomorrow, and I'll tell you, when that you can come down here. So all of a sudden, a day goes by. The next day, just like we planned, I go onto the phone. I text him. I say, okay, Charlie, what's going on? He says, I'm seeing doctors. He texts back. He says, I'm seeing doctors all day for my brain. He's seeing doctors all day for his brain. Oh, great. I got a guy with a brain problem. What is that? He says, give me a call tomorrow, and we'll figure this out, or text me tomorrow. Another day goes by, and I don't hear from the guy, and I'm texting him. And the next thing you know, he's telling me, I'll be able to get this in for you in a month, or something like that. Do you have a second car? And I said, no, I don't have a second car. I don't have. We talked about this. I had a second car, but I traded it in towards this car. No, I don't have another car. I need a loaner car. He says, well, I can't get you a loaner. I can try to get you a loaner car tomorrow, I think he said originally. Text me back. As another day goes by, I text him, are we ready for that loaner car? It turns out we're not going to have one for about 6 weeks. That was it. You see, I lost. It turns out I was, this guy was jerking me around, and I had trusted him. You can't trust these guys, the dealers. I thought that this guy was on the money, and he was good. He just made all these stories up, and finally I said to him, no way, you told me you were going to get me a loaner car. And I'm not, and before I go on, I'm not one of these guys. I can't express that more. No matter how I come off in these rant videos at times and things, folks, I swear to God, I just want it to be peaceful and nice. But I know sometimes you only get something if you get tough. So I was like, I'm not going to put up with that. You told me you could get me one right away, and now you're telling me it's 6 weeks. And he goes, I don't want to allow you to talk to me like this. Goodbye. And he hangs up on me. Now the guy hangs up on me. You didn't keep your word, So I had told him, as I was saying, well, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to get some satisfaction, and I'm going to talk to your boss or your manager. Don't you know, he calls me up 10 minutes later, or texts me. I keep saying calls me up. He texted me 10 minutes later. He says, you could bring your car down tomorrow at 8 a.m. and we'll have a loaner car for you. That's what I did. And the thing about it is, I love the loaner car. A lot of people probably can relate to that. As soon as I got that loaner car, man, I stepped on that gas, boom, tight. It was just what I want. It was a newer model. It was a 2020. It was only a year old. But boy, that car was a lot better. And then other things happened. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Sirius XM or satellite radio, but I just naively presumed that all newer cars just naturally had satellite radio. Boy, was I wrong. Turned out that my car that I bought does not have satellite radio capability. You believe this? A 2019 car doesn't have satellite automatic as an automatic feature? I didn't know that. I would have asked. So I don't have that. Of course, it doesn't have a CD player. Well, I knew that going in. I knew it wasn't going to have a CD player, but that was easily fixed because I did go out and find information on Amazon, and I got a portable CD player. I don't have it with me. That you just plugs right in, and it works. And luckily, the CDs play good. They don't bounce. They don't skip. I got lucky with that because a lot of people have said a lot of these portable players don't work. I got lucky. I don't know, it's just a little bit of a headache, and the reason for this rant is because, I trusted the guy Charlie, turned out to be a jerk, and there's more to it than that. I mean, he was giving me stories about his brain, about I got to go to the doctors for my brain, and I got to do this, got to do that, and, I didn't notice the rust, even though he held the door open every time, so I wouldn't see the rust. You can't trust anybody, really. And the final thing here is, I recently had to get it taken in for an oil change, and I want to keep the car good and everything. Bring it in for the oil change, and what happens? The guy says, if you like, my mechanic, he says, I could do a vehicle check the VIN number, and see the history of the car. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. But while I was waiting there for an oil change, he looked it up, and you know what? Yep, this car has been in an accident, sure enough. The front bumper corner, the corner here where the headlight is, kind of like driver's side front, has been hit. He showed me the diagram. I don't know. I had also asked Charlie, is this the original transmission? After I test drove the car, I said, is this the original transmission? And he said, yes, it is. I mean, believe me, folks, I'm not that stupid. If the thing had felt really bad, you could tell this thing has been really, it's not original transmission, it's been replaced or something. If I knew it for a fact and it felt like it, I never would have got the car. And I don't think he could lie about a thing like that anyway. I think you got to be on the up and up. And the car is guaranteed pretty much for 7 years. But that's my story. Kind of a rant that went on longer than I wanted it to, actually, as I look at the time. But overall, not too severe of a rant, but because you should have heard me back. The day that we fought on the phone, you should have saw her video.